from what I have learned, the African people and African American, our people, we're different. You can tell we're different. I watch a lot of the African videos of the social experiment that they be doing in them countries with their people when they be like, be nice to them or something like that. And they come back in return, give them a lot of cash and stuff like that. And I just watch the videos of how, because see, you can tell that we are under the curse and we fit them curses in Deuteronomy 28. Because if you look at the African people, you know what I'm saying? Them people really sticks together and they help each other over there. They even eat out the same bowls. They help each other. They walk up. They don't abandon their people. Now you may have a few of them that may act kind of like offish and tell them to do this here and stuff, but they different. You know what I mean? Over here like over here in so-called America, the so-called white man and stuff like that, they pretty much done trained our people is to be actually against each other. And if you look at our people versus the people over in Africa, they don't do that with their people. Be Uncle Toms and stuff like that, and asshole. From what I see, our people would join hand in forces with the same people that's killing them. Because see, that's the Stockholm syndrome that our people have in their damn mind. You see what I'm saying? They will turn around and see you as a good person, but they don't give a damn. They just want to sit there and cheese eat with the so-called white man and stuff like that. Our people do it. They marry him and all that kind of stuff. It's almost like our people then gain love for the same people that abuse them over for centuries. And this is the way, the mentality that and the mindset that our people have. You see what I'm saying? They have these mindsets like this here, to where they develop love for the same people that abuse them. And this is the same way women feel when they get in abusive, or men when they get in abusive relationship with a man, or when they get an abusive a guy getting into a relationship with a woman. They so used to that woman being treating them bad, or they so used to that man beating the hell out of them and treating them bad and all that kind of stuff, they start to feel sorry for them. And this is the reason why that we have love for our enemies. This is the reason why that our people, find ourselves, we thinking it's a good thing, but they have brainwashed us and conditioned us into, if you treating people this way, you love them anyhow. And this is where you get that, okay, let's love the same people that's killing us and raping and robbing and murdering us. And now we have that psyche in our mind, in our brain. We are conditioned mentally is to believe that this mental abuse, is physical abuse, is good. You see what I'm saying? In our mind, in our brain, we thinking it's good because they have beaten they have beaten the original out of our people. Until when you think about how we was in our original state, when our ancestors was in their original state, just like a lion. In order for the white man is to gain or get access to a lion, a tiger, a bear, what do they have to do? They have to stand a distance off, take something and shoot that thing and knock them out for about 5 or 10 minutes, right? That's the only way that the so-called white man can get those animals down to do whatever they want to, pick them up and put them in cages and all that type of stuff, is because the so-called white man, they got all kinds of stuff. They can stand a distance and shoot that lion down or that tiger or that bear down, and that's how they can gain access to them and do whatever they want to do. They have to first be able to weaken it. And this is what they have done to the black man. This is what they have done to the black woman. They have taken the black man out of the house, beat the shit out of him, chain him up, beat the hell out of him, just like they always say, chain him up, beat the hell out of him, and then they beat the masculinity out of him and beat the feminism in the man. So now this man no longer has the ability to be able to protect the black woman, just like the black woman has no don't have the ability is to love the black man like she should, because she been the way she was strong at first. She been abused by the slave masters, the oppressors, to say, hey, this man, so see where the man was protecting this woman, they would grab the man and they would cut him off, cut his what's his name off, and it made the black woman look at the black man and not have no more respect for him, because they would rape the black man in front of in front of his woman, the slave master, so that it would brainwash the black man, the black woman, to make her think that her man was weak, that, hey, we can't protect these people anymore. He can't protect me no more, so I don't have no reason to respect him, because the white man has gained the victory in doing what he succeeded, what he was done. And my man was supposed to have been able to protect me, but he can't protect me because the white man then cut him off. The white man, the so-called white man, then cut his genitals off and all that type of stuff. And this is how you start to they start to develop the hatred and the black man is being least desired by the so-called by our own people. You see what I'm saying? This is the reason why you have a lot of the Uncle Tom, because we feel like the other race is much more stronger than than us. You see what I'm saying? And this is how you start to develop those things. Matter of fact, let's look up, let's go to the Willie Lynch. The reading of the Willie Lynch letter. Okay, let's see if we can come across something. The Willie Lynch letter, often entitled The Willie Lynch Letter, The Making of a Slave, is a document purpose, purporting to be 1712 speech delivered by a British slave owner named Willie Lynch to other slave owners on the bank of the James River in Virginia. The speech outlines methods for controlling enslaving African people by creating a psychological, that's what I said, and social and physical divisions amongst them, and with the aim of ensuring control for hundreds of years. All right, this is the Willie Lynch letter. The themes of the letter: making a slave the core of the messages is the brutal forces is less affected than mental condition and psychological warfare. Division, a mistrust. Lynch advised setting slaves against one another, a young against old, and light skin against dark skin, and female against male. That's where that part come in at. Let's get, matter of fact, let's get that prophecy. In Deuteronomy 28 and 1. Now I'm gonna read that. It says, making a slave the core of the messages is the brutal brutal force is less affected than mental and conditional and psychological warfare. Division and mistrust. Lynch advised setting slaves against one another, young against old, and light skin against dark skin, and female against male. Let me show you that this is biblical. Female against male. Now watch this. Deuteronomy 28 and 54. Deuteronomy 28, 54. So that the man that is tender amongst you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother, and toward the wife of his bosom, and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. Okay. Verse 50, 55. So that he would, 54, 55. So that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat, because he had nothing left in him, and in the siege and the straitness wherein thy enemy shall distress thee in thy gates. 56. The tender and delicate woman amongst you, which will not avenge to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness and tenderness, her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom, and toward her son and toward her daughter. Her eye gonna be evil. That's going into, we are divided and we hate each other. That's what that means. When we look at each other out in the streets, we can't even stand each other. That's why when we go in places like Walmart, you see the so-called black woman, because they put the so-called white man put the black women on cash registers and put them in charge. And if you need help and assistance with something, the so-called black woman gonna be nasty towards you. Yes, because they are conditioned and trained that way. Look at him. It says division and mistrust, lynching, advised, setting slaves against one another, young against old, and light skin against dark skin, and against dark skinned, and female against male. What that sound like? That's Bible prophecy. All right. Role reversal and fear. The letter described breaking the according to the text natural roles of men and women, fostering fear and mistrust between them to destroy family structure. Self perpetuated self perpetuating control. The goal was to install a mentality of fear and submission that would cause the enslaved population to control themselves. Historical authenticity, while frequently citing the document, is considered by many historians to be a Knox or a modern fabrication rather than an authentic 18th century text. The largest language and terminology used in the text, such as refuting and black skin, do not allege with 18th century vocabulary. Origin: the documents surfaced in the late 20th century, and there is no evidence of a slave owner named Willie Lynch in the James River area in 1712. Okay, the point is that these things shows proof that all of these things are Bible. If it wasn't true, is me talking about it is proof. If this wasn't true, there wouldn't be no need for me to speak about it. You see I'm on YouTube, you see I'm in the video and I'm talking about it. So if you see me speaking on it like this here, it's a problem. I can relate to it. I can relate to this here. It's a problem. It's a problem over here. See, the name America, the oppressors, when they succeeded at conquering our people that was here, this country wasn't named no America. What was it before it became America? What was it? There was no African American. There was no such thing as African in American. Africa is a white man's name. America is another white man's name. Now, let's ask these questions. Are those terms in the Bible? Where's that in the Bible? Where is the true document is to support that our people is African American? Where's these things in the Bible? They should be documented somewhere if it was real. If it was real, wouldn't it would have came out? I would be able to see something and bring it out and say, hey, look, y'all. Look, This is let me show y'all that in the Bible that it should be in here. I ain't seen nothing in here that says nothing about African American. Nothing. Where did that term come from? Where did African American come from? African American. African American, also known as Black Americans, formerly called Afro Americans, are historically not Negroes, are coloring, with both now considered to be projectory on African racial or ethnic group who has defined by the United States since and consistent of Americans who have ancestry from any of the black racial group of African American constitute the second largest racial or ethnic group in the U.S. after white Americans. The term African American generally denotes descendants of Africans enslaved in the United States. According to annual estimates from the U.S. Census Bureau as of July the 1st, 2024, okay, black population was estimated at 42,000 and 951,595 representative, approximately 12,000 and 1,263% of the total U.S. population. African American history begins in the 16th century when mainly West African and Central African slave traders sold the Central African slave traders sold African artists, farmers, and warriors to European slaves. That's talking about the Nigerians, the Africans, and traders who transported them across the Atlantic to the Western Hemisphere. They were sold as slaves to Europeans and do y'all know colonized and put to work on plantations, in particular in the southern colonies, southern Louisiana, as colonized. A few were able to achieve freedom through mentions or escaped and found independent communities before and during the American Revolution. Okay. All of this was like in the 21st century, right? Now, if you look, let's go to the scripture where it says that the Africans sold our people to the Europeans. They were sold. Yeah, let's go there right quick. I think this is it right in here. Yeah, I think. All right, let's read this here. Joel chapter 3 and verse 6. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might move them far from their border. That means like a territory, a borderline, or something like that. Behold, now see that? Because let's read this in. Let's read it from the beginning. For behold, in those days, for behold, in those days, and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. Captivity means slavery. I will also gather all nations and I will bring them down unto the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead them with them there for my people and for my inheritance Israel, whom they have scattered. That's talking about what I'm reading now. Amongst the nations, and parted my land. They have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for an harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink. Yeah, they sold our people for those different things. Yea, yea. And what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coast of Palestine? That's talking about Africa. Will ye render unto me a recompense? That means a payback, a reward. And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, I will return your recompense upon your own head. That means your punishment, you're gonna get back. Whatever you put out there, you gonna get whatever you put out there, you dish out, that's what's gonna come back to you. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried unto your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, talking about the Africans, that ye might remove them far from their border. Behold, I will raise them out of the place where ye have sold them. Out of the place, because you have to remember, this goes with Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verses is 64. And sold them, and I will return your recompense upon your own head. That means they're gonna get a payback for what they have done. Whatever you do wrong, when you bring a people to a land and you refuse to let them people go, and you enslave those people, you're gonna get it back. It's coming back. Just like when they killed George Floyd. All of that shit is coming back upon them. You can't do wrong and get by with it. You know? It says, after African American history began in the 16th century, when many West Africans and Central African African slave traders, sold Africans, artists, farmers, and warriors to European slave traders, who transported them across the Atlantic to the Western hemisphere. They were sold as slaves to Europeans, colonized, and put to work on plantations, particularly in the southern colony. A few were able to achieve freedom through missing, or escape, put on the menu mission, or escape, and founded independent communities before and during the American Revolution. That's when that power of atheists, when they, ever revolution. After the United States was founded in 1783, most American black people, most American black people continue to be enslaved primarily in the American South. And they're like, we're in the South with 4 million slave people, only liberated after the Northern victory over the South and the Civil War in 1861 to 1865. During the reconstruction, African American gained citizenship, adult males the right to vote. However, due to widespread belief in white supremacy, they were treated as a second-class citizen, and soon effectively disfranchised in the South. I hope I said that right. These circumstances changed due to participating in the military conflict of the United States substantial, and I never did like no military no way, because you supporting white supremacy anyway. and immigration out of the South, the elimination of legal racial segregation, and the civil rights movements, which sought political and social freedom. However, racism against African Americans and racial social economics, this this spray remain a problem in the 20th century. This is the reason why a lot of our people get shot down in the streets. Like that young man was in his car. He was probably about 20, 19, 20, probably wasn't even 20 years old. They took them damn blackjacks and busted his windows out and pulled him out the car and went to beating him. And they had them other black guys sitting right there looking at it who was police officers or whatever. Shame on y'all for not doing anything. This goes on and on, man. I come back and I can read some more of this stuff here, man. Some of the words is kind of hard or whatever, but I'm not gonna keep it out too long. But African people, they stick together. When it came to enslaving and putting our people in slavery, they was together on that. Yeah. So African people, they stick together. That's what I named the video. So I'm up out of here. I'll be back.